And we're live. So Matthew, you are about to leave.
Yes.
You're about to leave for Boston.
It's true.
What are you excited about regarding that whole leaving for Boston thing? Coffee-wise.
I think it's going to give me some unique opportunities working for Prima Coffee and what we'll be able to do with directions for the company. Working on some of our content, helping be more active in the blogosphere so that we can get hermitudinous hits up. And so we'll be doing some product reviews, get more brewing methods up there, and continuing to work on some interesting new products that we hope to push out. And yeah, I'm excited to be a part of the culture in the Northeast of coffee. I'm excited to step into Boston and see a little bit of what I've been hearing about over the past few months of what's been going on up there. So it's a lot. We'll see what happens when I get up there.
You feel a little intimidated by it?
Not necessarily by the coffee scene up there. I'm just excited to learn, to get in there and get to visit a lot of the shops, some of the places up there that I've been hearing about. From what I gather, and it's probably a little bit of it's just ignorance, but Boston's still kind of a slow moving coffee scene. There's quite a bit that's starting to be done there, but they're still kind of in the infancy stages of really taking off when it comes to specialty coffee. And so I'm excited to step into that and learn from those people up there, and yeah, it'll be good.
I know I asked you this in the little questionnaire form I sent to you, but tell us a little bit about kind of your coffee journey.
Well, I never drank coffee as a kid because I knew that I wouldn't be able to be as tall as I wanted to if I started drinking coffee at an early age, and I wanted to play basketball. So I waited until I stopped growing when I got to college, and then out of necessity I kind of gave in, and it all started with a friend that also worked third shift and was in school at the time, and we met up at the Starbucks once a week and got our daily fix before we went out and worked our third shift jobs. And we saw ourselves as a little bit more sophisticated than the other just caffeine consumers, so we decided we'd step it up and then split a French press with one another. So we slowly made our way through. Well, I say slowly. I think we switched it up, like whatever coffee they had available, we switched it up every night. So we got actually through the little coffee passport in like a week and a half. But started there and just walking through that and talking through it with a friend. More out of necessity for caffeine, like I said at that point. But it got us interested in coffee in general. So that's where it started. That was kind of what I would say. That was my first wave of coffee since I skipped the whole Folgers bit, and my second wave, the next wave, which is really the big one and the one I've been riding ever since, is the. I think it probably started when there was a Hawaiian kid who let me take a sip of his cold coffee on the college campus. That happened a few times, but kind of piqued my interest there when I was exposed to something that I didn't really think was coffee at first or was possible with something that I thought was just supposed to keep me awake through the night and awake through my tests. But started there, and it was kind of a downward or upward slope from there, I guess. And got into roasting through that, and Yeah, that's how it started. That's my story now, and somehow stumbled into the coffee industry because of that. So, yeah.
Do you see yourself sticking around coffee for the long haul in a job sense?
It's I know that there's so many things in general in life that we tend to come in and out of when we hit in cycles, and coffee for me is something that I really enjoy. It's something that piqued my interest and something that I jumped on as a hobby and as an interest in something that I really loved. That being said, I think it'll always be something that will be a hobby. It'll always be something that I'm interested in learning more about and continuing to kind of push the boundaries in, just with myself and just home roasting and with the different brewing methods that I can find. As for industry long haul, I'm not sure that's necessarily where I'll be, but coffee is just something that I've come to appreciate, taking the time to enjoy the slower things in life, and taking the time to just sit down and enjoy something, to do something well, and to explore that thing and kind of take the best out of it that you can. So that may pass on to other things. But that's where I'm at now. So not sure. It's a toss up right now.
Okay. Switch gears a little bit. Talk about Louisville as far as a coffee community. I kind of asked that in the questionnaire, but give me some thoughts on if you were to describe it to someone who's never been here, who asks you about what's going on coffee-wise here, what would you say to them? How would you describe it? What would you want to impress upon them?
Yeah, Louisville is something. Well, the coffee scene in Louisville is something you could easily miss if you're not looking for it. Mostly because it's still small. We're still growing. We're still like I mentioned with Boston, even more so in an infancy stage. It's something where you're not really going to understand the beauty of it until you encounter one of those enthusiasts that have kind of set the Louisville coffee community on the trajectory that it is today. So for those that are wanting to figure out what Louisville's about, it would be, to me, just as much of a learning experience and a good picture of Louisville for them to just kind of catch up with one of those coffee enthusiasts and meet with them at their house and have them brew them a cup of coffee, because those are really those individuals that love coffee are the ones that are now slowly making their way into the cafes and the local Louisville other coffee industries and starting to make some movements there. So it's small, but there's a lot of good things happening. But the people that are behind it, if you can find one of those guys and sit down and just talk with them, you'll be set. So,
who would those people be? Who would you send them to?
Oh goodness, there's so many individuals that I've been involved with over the past 2 to 3 years, and just talking and learning. A lot of those individuals, I'm trying to think of some of the guys that I know the best. A lot of the guys that work at Center Goss, Kenny, and Kane, who has been there for a long time, and
3 more days.
Yeah, not there much longer. Sad. But obviously, Herman Tudinus, Mr. John Latoto, and Philip Ravel, Chris Heiniger. There's a lot of names I could drop of people that just enjoy coffee and have kind of found themselves just kind of geeking out over it with one another. So, yeah.
Are there any people that you've run across that recently that have impressed you in the sense that you weren't expecting them to be where they're at with coffee? You know, anyone that kind of just made you go, "Whoa, that was refreshing. That was that was unexpected."
I think the people that are normally the people that ask the most questions and are the ones that are kind of coming up and learning the quickest. There's a lot of the guys that, a lot of baristas, I don't even know a lot of their names, that are at Quills now are really asking a lot of good questions and doing a lot of stuff and serving a lot of good coffee. That kind of surprises me a lot. I know that Philip Ravel he's just kind of taken off and really kind of taken the step in desiring to serve coffee well. So he's probably the biggest one right now. I'm like, man, it's encouraging to see him kind of take hold and say, you know, this is where I'm at right now. This is something that I enjoy, and I want to do it the best that I can. And he's clearly doing it well right now, and it's encouraging to see and watch him grow in that and kind of step into this next phase. I think he'll be one of the big kind of movers in the Louisville scene over the next few years.
One of the burning questions that several people have consistently asked over the years is, why is Philip Ravel still single? Could you shed some light on that?
Well, I think that it probably has to do with his close resemblance to Leonardo DiCaprio.
It's intimidating, isn't it?
Yes. Yeah, it's the intimidation factor of that. There's no really other explanation I've got for you. So.